Hey guys, Dr. Mark Lewis Johnson Sr. here. Welcome to another edition of the Blue Jacket Book Review. Now, today's book is entitled Deep Discipleship. This is by J.T. English. Now, the church has a discipleship disease. That's what he says. He said there's a problem in the church. They got a disease. All of these books are just beating up the church. The church is this, the church is that. I'm going to write a book about it. The church is this, the church is that. I just want to remind everybody real quick, yes, the church has issues, but there's still some great things going on. He's just saying discipleship is not one of them. He's saying it's a disease. He said the symptoms are people leaving the church, students dropping out, like the lack of serious disciples, like all because the church has this discipleship disease. We're not taking people, getting people in the church, thumbs up, praise God, but we're not keeping them there. We're not helping them grow. And so the church is being misdiagnosed and mistreated, that the focus is growing the crowds instead of growing disciples. So English wrote this book to introduce a paradigm that would help the local church implement a philosophy of ministry that will grow, mature, and help people be whole. People grab hold of discipleship. But he's looking at a holistic approach to discipleship, something that really challenges. In order to do that, he knows that God must be the focal point. But the heart of everything that's done is a love and a knowledge of God. Like there's this deep concern about who God is that he feels like the church is missing. They're not focused on it. It's not a primary thing for them, and that's discouraging for him. So he writes this book, J.T. English writes this book, and he says, listen. Let's get real. Let's ask some deep questions. So deep discipleship is about asking deep questions. Number one, he says, why does it matter? Like when we look at the world, that's a loaded question. But, if the church is just going to do what they normally do, traditionally how they do it, well, why does all this matter? Number two, he says, where should it happen? Like a lot of discipleship is happening outside the church, like other authors, other things are going on. They're being discipled in other different ways. But he's saying, no, the local church is responsible for that role. They're supposed to take responsibility and discipleship and disciple people into discipleship as well. Number three, he says, what do disciples need? They need someone to walk them through it. Of course, a relationship with Jesus Christ. Of course, an understanding of how to move and adjust. But he's like, what do they need? Deep discipleship. What do they really need? Number four, he says, how do we maintain discipleship in the local church? Yeah, you have to have a plan, and then you have to grow the disciples. Like that's how it happens. So it's like it's a cycle that things happen, and you maintain disciples by growing disciples. Number five, he says, where do all disciples go? They go and make disciples. Like that's the whole point. So he's trying to say that we're discipling people to keep them when we should actually disciple them to send them. So he's challenging the church to do some things that to be unselfish, not to think so much about your four and no more type of thing, things within your four walls, your members, no, we're discipling them so they can go and make disciples. And then, yes, can my church do this? And why? He's talking about the strategies here. So deep discipleship is about deep and hard questions that must be asked in order to get the diagnosis right. And if you get the diagnosis right, then you can get the treatment right. And then before you know it, the church is what it's been called to be. J.T. English, Deep Discipleship, Mark Lewis Johnson Sr. If you have any questions about this, shoot me an email, info@marklewisjohnson.com, or go to my website, marklewisjohnson.com. Check out some of the other videos of the book reviews that we have done. In the meantime, may God bless you and keep you in his perfect peace.